Hello everybody, it's your boy, the Fantasy Football Almanac. Today we're hopping another best ball draft video. You know what time it is. We got the 11th pick. A pick, okay. Not the 11th pick's alright, I mean. I don't love it, I don't hate it. But this draft, we're getting into it real quick. We got Jonathan Taylor at the 101, McCaffrey at the 102, Justin Jefferson at the 103. If you guys do love these best ball videos, be sure, go down, leave a like below, leave a comment. Let me know how you think I did. Let me know what you think is best ball drafts. What do you think is the best pick? And be sure to include hashtag best ball so you can be entered into the giveaway. And that giveaway will be announced once I hit 50 subscribers. We are at 16 right now. And don't forget to subscribe so you can absolutely destroy your friends at fantasy football. Anyways, we got some crazy surprises. Geno Smith's army taking Derrick Henry here. Wow. Najee Harris at pick 5. We got a Najee Harris stand. Cooper Kupp falling all the way to pick 6. You don't see that too often. I mean, that's a little crazy there. Jamar Chase going all the way at pick 7. We got Eckler off the board as well. There's one guy we want right now. I don't think he'll fall to us, though. Stephon Diggs would be absolutely insane right now at pick 11. Getting him and doubling him up with somebody crazy like Joe Mixon, which doesn't happen too often, is probably the best strategy. If not, fine with Dalvin. Absolutely fine with Dalvin. I will not mind that at all here. It just depends on what S&M 1991 does. This guy, probably 30 years old, born in 1991, most likely. I mean, that's what most people do with these dates. So we're drafting up against a 31-year-old here. Happy birthday to S&M. Let's see what he goes with. He goes with Dalvin. We're taking Diggs here. We're pretty glad about that. I mean, I really like Diggs at pick 7. So getting him at pick 11 is just absolutely insane. And then pair him up with whoever out of CD or Joe Mixon. Or even Saquon here. I mean, I'm fine with any of these three guys. It would be really, really nice to start it off with back-to-back wide receivers here. Not going to happen, though. I mean, I'm absolutely fading Travis Kelce. At this range, I don't really like him. We're probably going to go Saquon Barkley here. And the reason I'm going to go Saquon Barkley, even though I probably do have Joe Mixon ranked higher, I do have Joe Mixon ranked higher. I'll just be 100% honest. But the reason why we're going to go Saquon Barkley here is because Saquon Barkley's only going to continue to rise here. I mean, he's a guy who's going to keep going up and up and up these boards. So we'll take him while his ADP is here. I mean, I see Saquon Barkley's ADP probably even surpassing Travis Kelce. I mean, I see him going at the 1-2 turn pretty much every time. From now on, I just think it's Saquon Barkley. I mean, come on. The upside is totally there. The downside is that he sucks. But we don't care about our floor. All we care about here is our ceiling. So we're taking a ceiling player. We'll get 2 S players in Barkley and Diggs, which I'm fine with. And then the next round, I really love the wide receivers in this 35 to 38 range. They're all absolutely so good. I mean, whether you can end up with a Marquise Hollywood-Brown, whether you can end up with potentially Keenan Allen falling, Mike Williams potentially falling, DJ Moore falling. A lot of these guys can fall. Allen Robinson's great. I really like Hollywood this year. I think Hollywood is absolutely being slept on. I mean, guys, the wide receiver 20 right now. The wide receiver 20, and he finished above that last year, putting up over 1,000 yards. And while he only had 6 touchdowns, he had those 6 touchdowns all pretty much with Lamar. Without Lamar, he looked a lot worse, of course. But he goes from one of the most run-happy teams in the entire league, probably the most run-happy, to one of the most pass-friendly, in a scheme that fits him superbly well, perfectly. And to a quarterback who he played with in college, I mean, come on. Can't get much better than that. But wait, it actually can get better than that. Because Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins has been out. He's missing 6 weeks with PEDs. So, I mean, situation can't really get too much better. He's competing with Rondell Moore for targets. And he's competing with AJ Green, 33 or 34-year-old AJ Green now, and Zach Ertz. I mean, these guys are not anybody you're worried about. And Kyler Murray, although people do give Kyler Murray a fair amount of hate, he is a quarterback who's pretty inconsistent, especially around playoff time. I mean, he's still a really, really talented quarterback, still a top 12 guy, being drafted as the quarterback 5 here. In fantasy format, so he obviously can produce in fantasy. Let me just pull up Let me just pull up some stats here really quick. The guy had almost 3,800 passing yards, not even in 17 NFL games. He had almost 4,000 the year before, can sling touchdowns. I mean, what's not to like about Kyler Murray as your quarterback when you're the wide receiver one? People were drafting D-Hop last year in the second round. And while I don't think he is a D-Hop level player, he's still a very talented guy. But here, we got a decision to make. Somehow T. Higgins is still on the board. Doesn't really make too much sense to me. But I don't think he'll make it back to us. I mean, there's pretty much just no way. This would be a really unique team combination if we got Diggs and T. Higgins. I mean, that's not a team combination you see too often, because T. Higgins is usually coming off the board like here. The lowest I've ever seen him go is 28, so this is a new low for him. I'm really pretty surprised. Keenan Allen off the board as well. I mean, my mouth is absolutely watering. T. Higgins does come off the board here. There's two guys we like, though, so as long as we don't get sniped on both, which even if we do, I'm fine with. I mean, I'm good with any of these four guys right here. Cortland Sutton comes off the board. I think I like DJ Moore the most here, just because DJ Moore, his touchdowns inevitably have to go up. Baker pretty much announced the starter. DJ Moore, one of the most consistent wide receivers in the entire league. And I love Pitts to death. I'm really scared not drafting him. He had over 1,000 yards his rookie year, which is second all-time among tight ends in history. But at the same time, I mean, how good is this offense going to be? That's my main concern right now. We're going DJ Moore here, though. If Pitts falls back to us, I'm fine taking Pitts, because it is possible. I mean, this guy does have Kelsey. So we could get Pitts here in the next round, which would actually just be insane. Because the thing is, this range, 59, 62, they're pretty bad for tight ends. The only tight end you sometimes end up with here, I mean, if Kittle falls a ton, you can end up with him. But other than that, there really is nobody in this range. So we're going to take Kyle Pitts here. I think Kyle Pitts has got to be the pick. I mean, he's going up against Drake London, and that's it for target competition. Very talented tight end. And we're getting him at a 7 pick discount. I mean, what more can you ask for than that? So we've gotten some pretty good values here. We do end up, Marquise goes the pick later. It is a little sad letting Marquise go. He's a guy I really like in this range, but I can't take him all the time, so I'm fine with it. And DJ Moore's insane as well, so not too mad. In the next round, we're probably targeting like these wide receiver types, like a Mooney. 60 is about his floor. I wonder where Amari Cooper's going to go now. I should make a video. I probably will make a video either tonight or tomorrow with my take on the Deshaun Watson news. I mean, it is pretty interesting. 11 games. Won't start till week 13. Ironically, against the Houston Texans of all teams. I mean, what were they thinking? It is kind of funny. But I will let you guys know just a general take for right now. I do think in 12-team leagues, he's pretty much unusable. I mean, if you're just doing a regular 12-team league with your friends, there's no point in picking up Deshaun Watson. I mean, maybe you could take him. Let's say he falls all the way to the last round. Then maybe you take him. If you're in a 2QB league, I think he's at least interesting to take in the late rounds. But the problem is, if you're in a 2QB league and you're in a 12-team 2QB league, it's pretty hard to take him because most likely your guys are going to have buys in between that. And going to the quarterback well in Superflex 2QB type of leagues is really hard. It's pretty much impossible for you to get anything at QB. And the QB situations are usually pretty awful. So that's why I think he's a little tough to take in these 12-team leagues. But in these best ball formats where you are just shooting for the high ceiling, and that's it. You're shooting for the absolute highest ceiling. I mean, I think he's kind of a value where he's going right now. He's falling to pick 189 here, and he's a guy who's going to continue probably to fall. So, I mean, at this point, if you get him for 5 or 6 weeks, I mean, he's got that upside to really give you a boost, and that's one of your last picks in the draft. So that's my philosophy on him. I mean, I understand. I understand not wanting to take him now. 11 games is kind of a lot. It was more than I was anticipating. But, I mean, he's still a phenomenal player. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, though, about the Deshaun Watson situation. It is pretty interesting to see. Just came out today, this morning. I woke up to the news, a little bit surprised. George Kittle coming off the board, pick 50, making our Kyle Pitts pick look a lot better. And also, go down, please go down, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel so you guys can absolutely destroy your friends at fantasy football. And get ready for these drafts. I mean, your drafts most likely are coming up pretty soon. So you guys got to get ready any way you can. Listening to these videos will really help you out. Hopping on these underdog drafts, again, not sponsored, will really help you out. So I highly recommend it. We got Juju still on the board somehow. A little bit surprising. Could return to practice next week. I mean, all right. We do like Juju here, though. I mean, Juju maybe might fall a tiny bit because little injury concerns. But I don't really know what the heck's going on. I mean, first we got T. Higgins. I like this team so much. Wow, this team is absolutely insane. We get Juju off the board. Get Darren Waller off this board, too. I don't want to see Darren Waller. I don't want to touch Darren Waller at this range. Bateman would be a nice pick here. Mooney would be a nice pick. I'm fine with Amon-Ra here. Probably Hurts as well would be fine. The only thing we're really missing is an RB2 here. But that's okay. I mean, we do have pretty much everything else rounded out. We will probably be hammering RBs from 83 to 86. Because, I mean, that's right where Chase Edmonds will be. We could try and get a guy like Tony Pollard, Clyde, Chase Edmonds, like in this type of range. So I'm fine with that. We do have Rashad Bateman still on the board, too, who I really like. So that's who I'm probably going to end up taking, unless this guy takes him here, which is entirely possible. But I kind of want... I mean, at this point, I kind of like doubling up with Bateman and Mooney, if that's possible. It might not be. I mean, if this guy's smart, he knows that both of us... Yeah, he goes Mooney. He knows that both of us have really good tight ends, so he's probably looking at this like, oh, okay, I could pass and take Darren Waller in the next round. I mean, that's what I would do at least. And as long as we're somewhat sensible, we'll fall for it. Maybe Montgomery here is fine. Montgomery, there's a lot of players I like. It's going to be dependent on what this guy does. Because, I mean, Montgomery's fine. Jalen Hurts is fine. A.J. Dillon is fine. Any of these guys. Jalen Hurts comes off the board. We're going to go Montgomery here. As long as it... Yeah, okay. We're going to go Montgomery here. Round out our running back room a little bit. I don't know why Montgomery's going as low as he is. To just be 100% frank. I mean, why the heck is he going so low? Lazard off the board. A little bit painful. Miles Sanders off the board. A little bit dumb. We got a painful pick. We got a dumb pick. I think Miles Sanders is probably just about the worst pick you could make. He's a guy I think I own in one of my over 100 fantasy drafts here. Why take him? What's the upside, really? I mean, he's in a run-first offense where, first of all, Jalen Hurts is going to be stealing so many of those goal line touches. 2, Brightwell, or Gainwell, whichever, I'm sorry, I was just keeping up with Giants beat reporting. Gainwell, let me actually just check this. Gainwell, yes. Gainwell has been getting tons and tons of hype in the preseason. People are hyping him up a ton. I mean, there is possible that he might take this job. Also, 5 touchdowns last year. They clearly do not trust Miles Sanders at the goal line. The guy they trust is Kenneth Gainwell. He had 68 attempts, 291 yards, and 5 touchdowns last season. They want Gainwell at the goal line. Miles Sanders, 0 touchdowns, that will go up, yes. It was a fluke in some ways. But even still, they do not want him in goal line situations. They don't like him there. So let's say he goes from 0 touchdowns to 5 touchdowns. Does that really make him a value? I mean, he might improve on his ADP, but he's not even close to a league winner. And that's why I don't like Miles Sanders, especially at this ADP. I mean, I think it's pretty gross. So I'm not really a fan. I'm not sold. I highly recommend against it. I prefer pretty much every single other running back in this range, whether it be A.J. Dillon, whether it be Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. I mean, I even definitely prefer Chase Edmonds. I prefer Kareem Hunt. I prefer Clyde. I prefer Tony Pollard. Literally every single one of these guys. Gibson, I mean, Gibson's going to be off the face of this earth soon. Holy crap, there's tons of wide receiver value on the board here. Although I don't like taking Amari Cooper now with the news coming out. I mean, I think he will drop. Amari Cooper, still a decent standalone wide receiver. He's going to be in this offense pretty much by himself. So that's why I probably will pull trigger on Amari Cooper here if he does fall. I mean, he will probably fall pretty far. I mean, I think pick 80 I could see about being his floor. But again, towards the end of the season, once Deshaun Watson is back, I mean, Amari Cooper is going to be paired up with Deshaun Watson. And Amari Cooper is a guy who is really boom or bust. So if you catch him on one of those boom weeks, especially if it's the last week, let's say he just so happens to boom on week 17 here, you're pretty happy about that. I mean, you can make some good money because of it. There's a lot of guys I really like here. Presumably, I mean, I'd like to end up with Tony Pollard. Yeah, Tony Pollard would be more than fine here. I don't think Amari Cooper will fall. We still are 7 picks away. I kind of don't really need any wide receivers here. We have some good wide receivers. Amari Cooper does not fall. I'm hoping to double up at running back here, to be 100% honest. If we just take 4 really strong running backs, because I imagine all these guys will be off the board here. A double up at RB, and then we'll probably end up with like a Stafford or someone like that next round, who I don't really love. I mean, I'm not really too big of a fan of taking these really late guys who have no rushing upside. Maybe we do go Russ here. We're kind of in a tough spot. And the reason why we're in a tough spot is because whenever you go tight end early, it is a little bit awkward with who you want to play. But we will. Now, I think this guy does have a quarterback already in Jalen Hurts. James Cook coming off the board. I think we are going to go Russ here. I think Russ is the pick. Even though I do kind of want to take Kadarius Toney, I think Russ is the pick. Securing a good quarterback, a guy who can run. He's done it in years past. I mean, 183 yards last year, but he was pretty limited. 2020, 513 yards. He's going into an offense where he's going to be the one calling all the plays. If he wants to run, Russ is going to run. So that's why I'm taking Russ here. And I'm fine taking Pollard. I'm fine taking Clyde. I'm fine taking Edmonds here. I think I might even just take Edmonds here straight up. Because I think Edmonds is a guy who's probably going to continue to soar. And I just really like Edmonds this year. I mean, I'm so high on Edmonds' ceiling. So we're going to go Edmonds here. I'm done trying to convince myself otherwise. Although we are making a slight reach, passing on guys that are a tiny bit better than him, he's a guy I'm buying into 1,000% this year. I mean, I think the ceiling is there, the floor is there. I think everything is in place for Chase Evans to absolutely feast. The only way he doesn't is if the coaching staff makes dumb decisions. But McDaniels is not a dumb guy. He knows how to use Chase Evans. Chase Evans went to the Dolphins specifically to play in this scheme. Chase Evans, a very capable athlete, very capable runner. I am a tiny bit concerned in the end zone. He might not have the touchdown ceiling that some of these other guys have. But in this range, I mean, he is a no-brainer. An absolute no-brainer here. I think he's an absolute steal where he's going. And he will be until he gets pushed up into this A.J. Dillon range. I mean, I think realistically, like, that's where I would have him. In terms of just pure running back ADP, like, why is he not in this same zone as the A.J. Dillons, the Elijah Mitchells, the Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs in an uncertain backfield. Chase Evans also in an uncertain backfield. But Chase Evans, I have a lot more conviction that he will take the starting job than I do with Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs will have the starting job. But I don't think Josh Jacobs will have a firm grasp on the starting down or the third down role for that matter. And that's really what you're looking for in these running backs. You want to see a third down role. Chase Evans, a great receiving back, a more than capable runner. I don't see any downside with him. So that's why I'm pulling trigger on him at 86 here. And I'm not looking back. Now, I mean, we could secure another tight end and really just round out this team. And then most likely we'll end up taking, I don't like Isaiah Spiller at all, but like a Madison type player. Dameon Pierce, whoa. I didn't realize how much he was soaring. Oh my god. I mean, it makes sense. Although he is listed third on the depth chart, especially according to this report, I mean, it does make sense. He did look really good in his first preseason game. So it is possible he does earn the starting job. And if that's the case, I mean, that's the case, then why not? Try and take him. Take a risk on a guy who probably has a good lock on the starting running back room. So, I mean, it does make sense. Why I swung up so much? I just didn't realize it was this much. Wow. So at the 107 and 110, we probably are going to try and get one of these guys. I mean, I'm fine taking Dameon Pierce here. I'm 100% fine taking Dameon Pierce at this 107 pick. Get our fourth and last running back. I'm absolutely fine with that. And then we have a really strong, really well-rounded team. Also, the thing with Kyle Pitts is, just thinking about this, totally separate, but Kyle Pitts has the ability to absolutely win you weeks in fantasy. I mean, he's one of those few players that can win you weeks at the tight end position. There really is only 3 players that can legitimately win you a week. I guess Dawson Knox as well. But other than that, I mean, these guys, it is kind of hard to find these dudes that can win you weeks. We got TJ Hawkinson still on the board. We could take our last tight end here, get rid of the tight end position. We could honestly spend these 2 picks here and get a great quarterback, 2 great quarterbacks, or a great quarterback and a great tight end, and be more than fine with it. If we do end up in a position where we are faced with this decision and all 4 of these guys are still on the board, we're going to take TJ Hawkinson. And the reason why we're going to take TJ Hawkinson here is because there's probably no way that this guy goes 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I really would like Dak here, though. If Dak falls to us, I mean, that would just be absolutely phenomenal. That'd make my day, honestly. If Dak can make it back, Dak can make it back. Dawson Knox off the board as well. Wow. 3 of these 4 players that I start up have gotten taken. Devin Singletary off the board. Let's go. We get Dak Prescott. Oh my god, I should have checked that first. They have the same bye. A little heartbreaking. Actually, really, really stupid decision on me. But what can you do? Traylon Burks off the board as well. We're going to take Rondale Moore here. So, alright. So, we're going to have to figure out and maybe go with the 3rd QB here. Although, I mean, I still think this is fine. Now our wide receiver core is pretty good. Our running back core is pretty good. We're going to hope for Madison in the next round. Just try and get one of those guaranteed quality backups, or Gainwell even. I mean, one of these 2 guys I'm fine with. Either one. I really wouldn't mind. Let me know down in the comments below, who are the backup running backs that you guys are targeting in this range? Because it is a little tough. Like, once you get to this range, past all the starters, once you get past running back 32, running back 33, you're not dealing with any starters anymore. I mean, there are guys with potential to at least share a workload, like Melvin Gordon here, for instance. He's probably going to have a 45% split in this offense, and I think that is pretty strong, and he's being a little undervalued. He's not a guy I like because I don't think he necessarily has the crazy upside, but his floor is there. I mean, if he's somehow on the board at 131, I'll take him. But he definitely is a decent value at where he's going. We have Julio Jones still on the board. Julio Jones and Russell Gage, they're finally about split at ADP here. I mean, the Julio Jones hype in camp has been unreal. I have not seen this much hype for a 33-year-old wide receiver pretty much like ever. I mean, AB was getting some hype, but we all know AB's crazy. We didn't know exactly what was going on. But Julio Jones here has been gotten a ridiculous amount of hype. It seems like every day I'll scroll through, I'll look at training camp, I'll see another crazy Julio Jones play. So the more I've been seeing Julio Jones, the more I've kind of been rising on him. I wouldn't necessarily call him a guy I really, really like, but he does have the upside to finish as a wide receiver too. I mean, we've seen him before. Julio Jones is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Julio Jones is an absolute monster. But, I mean, he's 33 years old. I do like him here. I mean, he does have some good value. And I think in sleeper leagues, you have to be hammering Julio Jones. You can get Julio Jones in the last round or the second to last round of your drafts, or before you start drafting your defenses, your kickers, and all that. You can take him legitimately that late. And if you're getting a guy with the potential to be a wide receiver 2 in this offense, and a wide receiver 2 in fantasy, I mean, how can you complain about that at this range in the draft? It's Julio Jones. He's catching passes from the greatest player of all time, Chris Godwin. We don't know what is 100% going on just yet. I mean, is he ready for week 1? How's he going to look once he's there? there is some cause for concern. With Julio Jones, he can step in and immediately fill that wide receiver 2 role. And we've seen Brady be able to support the 3 wide receivers in his time. Furthermore, there's no Gronk. He can support Chris Godwin. He can support Mike Evans. He can support Julio Jones, as he did with AB, with Gronk, with all of these different players. So I think Julio's a good pick here, honestly. He's a guy I might start drafting a little bit higher. I might have to reevaluate exactly what I think about him. But now we got Madison and Gainwell still both on the board here. I mean, I do prefer Madison slightly, because I do think Madison has a higher ceiling. If everything breaks right, Madison's ceiling is absolutely insane. And this is a guy who, if Dalvin Cook goes down for the season, he is 100% the RB1, locked and loaded, ready to go. There are very few running backs like that. I think, generally, I advise against taking backups for your running backs. I mean, James Robinson, I heard the news. He's ready for week 1. I don't understand it. It doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. He's coming off an Achilles injury. This is the same thing we saw from Cam Akers. James Robinson getting a ton of buzz recently. I mean, we saw how inefficient Cam Akers was when he came back from his torn ACL. I think something similar could be the case for James Robinson here. I still like taking ETN pretty high, although I think he will probably fall. At least a few picks. We got Madison off the board here. A little bit disappointing, but that is okay. James Robinson coming off the board. But I mean, realistically, how ready is James Robinson going to be for this season? I think at this point he is kind of a value. I mean, he's a guy who's talented, a really good football player, but it does concern me a little bit. But here now we have our 2 quarterbacks. Oh, maybe I should take the Muth of both. Nah, I probably will take a wide receiver here. Wow, Dobbs. I knew he was going to be going at a pretty big discount here. We're going to be taking Romeo Dobbs here, realistically. So what do these other guys offer compared to Dobbs? I want a piece of this Green Bay offense in every single draft I hop into. I'm going to be taking Dobbs here, and then I'm hoping Christian Watson falls to 155. Whichever one the wide receiver 2 is, I want that bed. Romeo Dobbs, that guy's been soaring up these boards, and it's not hard to see why he was praised by Aaron Rodgers. So I think he will continue to soar up these boards, even though I still think Christian Watson could easily be the wide receiver 2 in this offense. I mean, now that Christian Watson's a bigger discount, I mean, why not take a risk here and try and get Christian Watson? Michael Gallup still on the board somehow as well. Wow, okay. We don't need any more running backs. We don't need any more quarterbacks, although we did screw up with the bye situation here. Whatever, what can you do? We'll take the loss week 9. But we do have pretty much everything else figured out. We do need one more tight end, which is fine. I mean, we got Kyle Pitts here. Kyle Pitts is a guy, I mean, he's one of the best players we've ever seen. I mean, this is not a question of logical thinking. This is a question of heart, of love. Kyle Pitts has the talent to easily be the tight end 1. I mean, he had the second best tight end season of all time. The volume should be there. I'm just scared, statistically, that this team is going to be bad. I want to be drafting Kyle Pitts higher. I mean, realistically, if Kyle Pitts was on the Green Bay Packers now, he would probably be going ahead of Travis Kelce. He would probably be going ahead of Mark Andrews. If he were on a competent team with a good quarterback, the sky is the limit for Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's going to be a first-round pick in fantasy football sooner rather than later in redraft leagues. I think it's just it needs to be said. Kyle Pitts, people consider his rookie season a disappointment. I didn't know 1,000 yards was a disappointing season. I didn't know nearly breaking the record for most yards from tight end in their rookie year was disappointing. And he did that with Matt Ryan, a guy who really did not look all that great last season. A guy, I mean, who still has something. He has some juice, but, I mean, it's not like he's Ben Roethlisberger, but it's also not like he's Tom Brady. I mean, he hasn't aged like fine wine, but he hasn't aged like some other quarterbacks have. I think he's still got some juice, but I mean, in his rookie season, we've never seen that before. We've literally never seen a season that good. If you weren't born in the 40s, you've never seen a season that good from a tight end. Never. That's why I really do like Kyle Pitts if he falls. I can't take Kyle Pitts if he's not falling, though. Just because I am a little bit concerned that he is going a tiny bit too high. I think it is right about where I like him. But I think, yeah, the 401, the 402 is where I start to say, all right, let's take Kyle Pitts here. Kyle Pitts needs to be the guy to take. Because I don't want to bet against the talent like that. I mean, it's Kyle Pitts. That's my rant on Kyle Pitts, though. Let me know what you guys think about Kyle Pitts down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. I mean, does the talent outweigh the situation? Or does the situation outweigh the talent? It's one or the other with Pitts, and it is so tough. It's one of the weirdest situations in fantasy football. Let me know down below in the comments. And please, if you can, subscribe. You can always change your mind later. And you guys will absolutely freaking dominate your league mates. What more can you ask for? That's really the goal. You want to be able to dominate your friends. Absolutely destroy them in fantasy football. What's a better feeling than that? What's a better feeling than coming out every week, dropping 170, 180 points, not even having to break a sweat because you know your team is that good. That's really the goal. That's what I'm hoping to produce this season. And not just for me, but for you guys. I think it is one of the best feelings of all time. Since we do have Kyle Pitts here, I mean, I might go Njoku, realistically. Not at this pick, but maybe at the next pick. I'm probably... Nico Collins is at least a wide receiver 2 in this offense, so I probably will take Nico here. Little Nico action. Jarvis is basically useless now. That Michael Thomas is back. I mean, Jarvis is pretty much a wasted pick. Good thing I was pretty much fading Jarvis in every single draft. I think I own 2 shares of Jarvis. But I'll take Njoku. I'll take Njoku in the next round. We'll secure a nice tight end here. Get our tight end too. And now, all we got to do is hit wide receiver for the entire rest of the draft, which is really nice. We're going to end up with 10 wide receivers here. Daniel Jones coming off the board. A guy with some receiving upside. Jameis Winston, a guy with no receiving upside. I cannot believe the first game last year, Jameis Winston went crazy. I mean, he slung 5 touchdowns and had like 100 yards. I'm sure you guys all remember that as well. But that was just a ridiculous game. I mean, what the heck happened there? Jameis Winston had everybody all worried. But when you looked at the underlying stats, it's like the guy had 100 yards and 5 touchdowns. Or maybe he had like 200 yards. I don't know. I don't remember exactly. But the guy did not actually have a great fantasy performance. He did have a great fantasy performance, but he didn't actually do all that much in terms of yardage. And I mean, that's a number that's got to come down realistically, which it did, but it is still Jameis Winston. I mean, I think Jameis Winston's at least a somewhat talented QB. He is decent. He's in a good situation. But for me personally, unless you're a guy slinging 40 touchdowns, I just really want to take quarterbacks who run. Russell Wilson can run. Dak can run. Because otherwise, you don't have access to that ceiling. Jalen Hurts has access to an insane ceiling. I mean, he's one of the few guys at the quarterback position that can drop 40. Pat Mahomes, just because of his passing and a little bit of rushing, can drop 40. Same thing with Herbert. But unless you're slinging 5 touchdowns in a game and throwing for 350 yards, you're not dropping like 40 points. It's very, very rare for quarterbacks who don't run to do that. But for quarterbacks who do run, it's more than possible for them to drop those 30, 35-point games. Sure, they may have some duds, but who cares in a format like this? Who cares how many duds you have? You could have 40 duds, but week 17, when it counts, that's what you need. You need those boom weeks. And rushing quarterbacks provide those. So that's why I like taking these rushing QBs here. Wow, I'm surprised J-Mo just came off the board. Here we most likely will be taking Van Jeff. I like Paris Campbell here. And then we'll just be shooting for the stars, like a Taekwon. And probably call it a day pretty much. Like a Taekwon. Who else? I think Kyle Phillips. I don't know if anybody watches the fantasy footballers, but Kyle Phillips Kyle Phillips is a guy I think his ADP will go up just because he was mentioned in that show, just as like a late round flyer. So I think it is possible. But I mean, all these guys, you should be taking these late round flyers, these crazy picks here. So here we're hoping to just get two crazy boom bust wide receivers. Van Jeff fits the bill more better than anybody. Paris Campbell, a big body guy, fits the bill pretty well as well. A guy who, if he actually gets control of the offense, will be pretty good. I'm fine with that. Tyrion Davis-Price on the board as well, but I can't take more than 4 running backs. I just think it hurts your ceiling. It really does to take more than 4 running backs. I think 5 is the absolute max if you're going for a crazy structured RB build. We didn't here. I think 3 RBs, 3 like good RBs, and then a 4th backup guy where if the main goes down, he pops off is the best situation with these running backs. I think we secured 2 pretty good wide receivers, and then a lot of like these flyer type guys. But every other position, we are really stable. I don't think this is a team that can necessarily win the $2 million, to be honest. I don't think it has a high enough ceiling. But I think this is a team that could easily win the individual league. And once you win the individual league, I mean, anything's possible, you know? We do have Paris Campbell on the board as well. So Paris Campbell, Tyrion Davis-Price. I mean, I would like Tyrion Davis-Price. Again, I don't think it's smart to take him here, though. But we are most likely going to call it a video after this Paris Campbell pick. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you guys do enjoy these fantasy football videos. Again, please go down, leave a like down below, leave a comment, let me know how you think I did. And subscribe to the channel so you could absolutely destroy your friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great night.